Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
UFC 226 just got even more stacked. It's your boy Taco Bell Wani and Raphael Assuncao versus Rob Font and Gokhan Saki versus Khalil Rountree were both just added to UFC 226. Miocic versus Cormier. We know that's going to be a champion versus champion super fight, the Ultimate Fighter finale. It's going to be an international fight week. You know, the Ultimate Fighter finale is probably going to be that Friday. This is going to be the pay-per-view. Miocic versus Cormier. They both coached the Ultimate Fighter season 27, which premieres sometime soon. I actually plan on watching that, but they were the coaches. They're both UFC champions, light heavyweight and heavyweight. They're gonna fucking battle it out at UFC 226 for the heavyweight title. There's been talks of multiple champion versus champion super fights being added to this card. That might not be the case, but definitely there's gonna be at least one other title fight. I wouldn't be surprised, maybe two, because this is going to be a huge card. There was talks about this being like the Super Bowl in the beginning of the year, the Super Bowl of the UFC. Like, if you remember, there was TJ Dillashaw versus Demetrius Johnson, Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. Those champion versus champion super fights were kind of being talked about for this card as well. Now, some of those fights might not necessarily be happening. We saw, you know, Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw 2's rebooked. Demetrius Johnson versus Henry Cejudo 2 might be happening. So with that being said, those fights might materialize for this card. They might not, but I would not be surprised if we continue to see big fights added to this card. Name value, you might not recognize these names, but let me tell you, Raphael Assuncao and Rob Font, both of these guys are top 10 bantamweights. Raphael Assuncao, former champion on a 3-fight winning streak. He beat Aljamain Sterling via split decision. I mean, he got his hand raised, so you know what I'm saying? Split decision, but then he beat Marlon Moraes. Might have been another split decision if I'm not mistaken. So Raphael Assuncao beat Aljamain Sterling, Marlon Moraes, and most recently, I believe, Matthew Lopez. So he's on a 3-fight winning streak since losing to TJ Dillashaw, and he's going to be fighting Rob Font, who's coming off of a KO over Thomas Almeida. Now, before that, Rob Font was submitted by Pedro Munoz, but he came back and got that big KO win in the second round, I believe, over Thomas Almeida. So this is definitely a top 10, arguably maybe a top 5 ranked bantamweight fight. Both of these guys are looking to get back to the title. Well, not back to the title for Rob Font, but Rafa, they're both looking to get to the title. So with that being said, we've also got Gokhan Saki versus Khalil Rountree added to the card. Gokhan Saki, I don't know too much about his kickboxing background, but people say he's a kickboxing legend. We saw in his UFC debut, he might have, you know, got a little tired going into the second and third round, but he was coming over from kickboxing. It's a little different. I hear, you know, kickboxing, the rounds might be a little shorter or something like that. So you got to transition. So with that being said, I'm sure he's probably been working on his cardio, but, you know, I don't know how much you can improve from his last fight to now, but I'm sure he's been working on that, so we'll see what happens. I've seen some people talking about this fight as a battle of the gas tanks, but Gokhan Saki has got some really thunderous striking we saw in his first fight. Even when people thought he might have been running out of gas, he got a pretty nasty KO in his UFC debut. So he's going to be, this fight is rebooked between him and Khalil Rountree Jr. You can expect fireworks. I mean, at least for the first round, should be really entertaining. And then you can still, like I said, Saki's UFC debut, we still might see some crazy KO in the second or third round, or it's just going to be a fun fight. Great technical striking from Gokhan Saki. We'll see if Khalil Rountree can, you know, try to get a takedown on the kickboxer, which is probably going to be the best strategy versus a guy like that. Even if you're not a natural wrestler, try and get this guy on the ground and see where his mixed martial arts skills are at. So with that being said, 2 dope fights added to UFC 226, Miocic versus Cormier. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
This is #1 bullshit.